Welcome to FiST Chat, your source for news and discussions in film science and technology, hosted by Steve Kern and Ben Warner. Visit our website at fistchat.com.
Hello everyone and welcome to FiST Chat, the vodcast where we discuss all things related to film science and technology. My name's Ben Warner and I'm joined once again by my good friend and colleague Steve Kern. How are we today, Steve?
I'm good, thanks, Ben. Hello, FiST Chat fans. It's great to be here and looking forward to hearing some news you've got.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hopefully my throat will hold up because I'm just recovering from a bit of a cold, but that's not going to stop me from, or for both of us, getting through some of this exciting announcements. Well, we just wanted to mention briefly, we'll have a bit more of a discussion about this in our next two episodes once it becomes even a bit more clear for us for what exactly we're doing. But FiST Chat is actually going to be evolving into a new platform in the next month or so called SciTech Culture. And we'll have a bit more to say about that, like I said, in the next few episodes. But basically, we've sort of come to a point where we're sort of consolidating a lot of what we're doing. We want to do some new things and just sort of reevaluating the platform and how best we can go about doing that. And I think we can speak for both of us that we're fairly excited at the opportunities that this could potentially represent. But like I said, if you start seeing name changes on our feeds and that sort of thing happening in the next week or so, then you'll know what it is. We didn't have some sort of schizophrenic attack or something like that. But it should be good, don't you think, Steve?
Oh, well, look, as we say so often on FiST Chat, things change, especially technology. Things change very quickly, and these changes recognise the fact that around us, technology and the way people use it are changing. So FiST Chat has to change as well.
Absolutely. So, like I said, SciTech Culture, that's the new name, and we'll have a bit more to say about it in the next two episodes of FiST Chat. All right, today's episode. Now, I came across this and had to have a chuckle since I work in an office, and there's always these talks about standing desks and how they fit into the office environment. But now it seems that from this article at lifehacker.com.au, science has confirmed why your workplace needs a standing desk. A new report published in the Medical Journal of Australia is urging businesses to adopt a standing desk policy to improve office workers' posture and overall health. According to the paper, not only are non-standing desks bad for you, they could constitute an unsafe working environment if no standing options are provided.
Of course.
But it's not just, obviously we know that sitting in a seat for 8 hours isn't really good for you. And there's all that ergonomic kind of thing that, goes along with bad posture and whatnot. Have they sort of come up with anything new? What is it? I'm just having another look at this. What is it scientifically that they've discovered from standing desks?
Oh, Ben, look, it's nothing new because Gordon Gekko invented the standing desk in the movie Wall Street when he was power walking and calling deals in that famous scene.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's nothing new, but look, seriously, hello, Brian. I'm sure you're probably watching. He tried to create himself a standing desk environment a couple of years ago at a place I was working, and it was very unsuccessful. He did it with some flat-packed furniture and tried to stand there. That actually was an OH&S hazard. You've got to know what you're doing. Yeah. But look, this is just somebody else peddling a report so they can sell some more furniture. Honestly, if you were serious about it in the workplace, just get everyone to get up every 30 minutes and walk in a circle around the office.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Haven't they done quite a bit of research to sort of figure out what's the best thing to do as far as, health, in terms of posture and all that sort of thing?
And the thing is, they've actually done the research. Standing doesn't increase your metabolism that much. Apparently, the whole idea of a standing desk is that you're less likely to slouch and just sit there all day watching YouTube videos when you should be working. So that's what they're trying to break up. But the reality is there are many other simpler strategies that can be imposed with that. And, it's an interesting thing. 20 years ago, you probably had to get up to go to the filing cabinet.
Yep.
Not anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
If you're going to start bringing in OH&S into this, then you have lost the plot.
But I mean, even from say a biological perspective, humans need to move to kind of stay healthy in that sense. So it's not that they're sitting down, standing up, or whatever, but if they alternate between the two. Now, as an example, in our workplace, we've got a couple of standing work desks. I've actually got one that's behind me in the office.
Yeah.
Now, I don't see anything wrong with, say, I log in at my normal desk, maybe work on that for half an hour to an hour, and then if I feel like it, I go to the other desk and log into there and stay there for an hour. Then maybe I go and walk around and do some other things or whatever. But isn't it that if you're using a standing desk, say in periodic bursts, just to break things up, that might be helpful?
Well, it could be, but look, the science also on this shows that not only does standing not raise your metabolism or give you any benefits that way, humans aren't meant to stand. We're not very good at standing, and it's actually not very good for us. It's actually probably less good for us than sitting. Humans are very good at walking, though. Perhaps the real solution here would be for everyone to put on a set of Google Glass and just walk around all day through the city or wherever they work and just answer their emails without walking into Stobie poles.
Yeah, that's right. Going for a walk through the park during most hours of the day. I wish I could remember where I saw it, but there was an article I remember seeing where they were, some company was road testing some new types of office designs, and it wasn't necessarily stand-up desks, but it was kind of trying to introduce more of a lounge setting, to break away from that notion of the cubicle. And encouraging more movement in a sense.
The idea is, you've got to move more. So the optimum would be a treadmill, and you just walk on a treadmill and power all your own equipment.
Yep.
Including when you take your phone to work and recharge it at work. I've never understood that, but there you go.
But there you go then. Maybe instead of a standing workstation, it's a treadmill workstation.
That would be the ultimate.
A nice big
gecko.
That's right. A nice big flat screen right at the top of the treadmill, and away you go. You can do all your conference calls, everything.
That's right. And you could have a cubicle at the same time, and you wouldn't be allowed to go on a smoko until you worked up a sweat.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be surprised if like Google or someone like that had that sort of thing anyway, because they've got an interesting workplace. But it's interesting.
They certainly have.
It's interesting to have a think about that. It's almost in an office environment, it's difficult, isn't it? There's just so many issues that are sort of working against that idea of movement. And I try it every day, even though technically I don't need to get up at all, really. I try very hard not to stay sitting down for those 8 hours.
Well, it's true. I mean, we live in an era where conceivably, we could all work from home in our underwear. We probably don't even need to get out of bed. So that's what's happening at work. We get dressed up and then sit down all day. So I think that just, if you made everyone aware or just, somebody could easily write some software that just put your computer to sleep for 5 minutes every hour.
That would be good.
Get up, walk to the water cooler, walk around the water cooler, play a quick game of squash. I don't know.
Now, I'm sure someone will work it out, but it seems like it's not in that pulling out of that study on the stand-up workstations.
Well, yeah, it's an old idea just rehashed once again.
Exactly. All right, we'll move on from that now. We'll go into our news bites. Now, our film news bite. Martin Scorsese knows why film is worth saving in a digital world, from The Verge. Kodak will keep on producing movie film in the near future after several noted directors lobbied Hollywood studios into striking an agreement with a storied American company last week. But why is film worth saving in the first place when digital technology makes major strides in convenience and quality every year? Legendary Taxi driver and Raging Bull director Martin Scorsese has a few answers. And surprisingly, I think what he's zeroed in on is the visual palette, which he still claims is richer and superior to HD, and storage. Film lasts, according to what he's saying, but we don't know if digital formats will last. What do you reckon about that?
Well, he's got a point still. I mean, we still haven't solved storage. So, what, in the last 20 years, how many different forms of storage have we gone through just in terms of standard digital? You know, we've gone from, punch cards to tape to discs to hard drives to flash drives.
Yeah.
But the codecs keep changing, or the codes keep changing, compatibility keeps changing. So film, there's every reason to agree with him on that. But at some stage, I'm reasonably certain they'll settle on a universal digital code, and it won't be such an issue.
Well, you would think if they had a couple of backups in different locations that this wouldn't be a problem on a couple of servers somewhere.
Well, as long as someone keeps writing code that allows it to be reformatted, I guess, without loss.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's the danger with film, though. If you had a film master, that every time you recode it, it'd probably, lose something. But if you actually, no, that's wrong. Sorry. If you digitize film,
yeah,
every time you re-digitize the digitize, you probably lose something.
Yeah.
No matter how good the codec. However, if you start from film master every time, then I guess what he's saying is that in terms of storage and archiving, film is still probably, at least for the next 30 or 40 years, the best option.
And what about this business with the richer visual palette? That's just a matter of taste, isn't it?
I think we're trained to enjoy film and the visual palette.
Yeah.
And you have to agree though, the 24 frames a second, it could have been 15, could have been 35.
The grain.
The grain. They're probably pretty close to what the eye likes to see.
Yep.
So
I don't know. I'm more than happy to see the grain disappear and the cigarette burns if I see a perfectly clear picture in the cinema. But anyway, that's just me.
Well, I think a good analogy of this is like music. So,
yeah.
Except talking about a much bigger time frame here because there's so much more information in film or visual materials. But for probably the first 5 years of the sort of CD and the digitization of music, a good analog recording with a good analog playback was actually still better than the CD.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see this happen with film at some point. Probably once we go to 4K fully and everyone's on 4K, you'll find that exceeds what film can do now. But for the moment, probably film still is holding out. But it's, we're only talking tens of years here before it's all over.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on to our science news bite from Discovery News. Impossible space engine may actually work, from NASA. Researchers at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston have found that a microwave thruster system that requires no propellant does indeed generate a small amount of thrust. If the technology pans out, it could make spaceflight far cheaper and speedier, potentially opening up much of the cosmos to exploration. Well, that sounds encouraging.
These kinds of engines have been theorized for a long time. The argument against them, though, is that under standard physics, they shouldn't be able to work.
Right.
However, obviously, if you go outside of the standard thinking, conservation of momentum, for instance, you could theoretically construct a reason for them to work. There are now about 3 or 4 people who claim to have got these to work. It's impossible at this stage to know. But if this works, you won't need fuel to go really fast in space.
Well, you don't have those pressures, like friction and all that sort of thing stopping you, would you?
Well, in space, that's not an issue. But in space, fuel is a big issue. Yeah. So you've got to, blow fuel out the back of a rocket to push you forward.
Yeah.
So to get that fuel to the rocket takes a lot of power, to get the rocket into orbit and then to load it and then to still get it out there. This means fuel takes no space, so your spacecraft will effectively have a lot more cargo capacity, but also means that in space you could build a lot bigger spaceships than the pokey little ones we have today. With this sort of technology, this Star Trek technology, you could have a giant cruiser and these engines could power you at speeds much, much faster than today's rockets. I don't know about getting near light speed or warping or anything like that, but these sorts of engines could get you to speeds a lot faster than rockets, which makes exploring our solar system down the track possible.
That's what I was saying. As long as we can buzz around the solar system for the next little while, that'll make things interesting.
There's more than enough action and excitement for us to explore in our solar system for the next couple of 100 years.
Absolutely. All right, and just finally, our tech news bite from businessinsider.com.au. Australians are claiming a world-first technology breakthrough in using graphene for micro devices. Researchers are claiming world-first technology will harness the remarkable properties of graphene and could launch the next generation of mass-produced, low-cost micro devices. They could be commercially produced sensor devices which are biocompatible, chemically resistant, and highly sensitive. Is this just more evolution of the technology, or is this something sort of genuinely new in that sense?
Oh, this is a bit of both. And what's very interesting, I think overnight, IBM just announced as well that they've got a chip now that can think like a human brain.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Very interesting. But what these devices are is they're not actually advances on today's computing, today's microchip. They're sideways movement. So in a lot of these things, what's really interesting is we're taking now technology that exists and we're evolving the microchip.
Yeah.
Not by making it run faster, by actually giving it a capacity to do different things like sensing.
Yeah.
Like decision making, like pattern recognition.
Mm.
So what we're doing is we're actually getting the chip to specialize. So rather than running a laptop and having all these wonderful apps on it, these chips themselves will perform individual functions. With substances like graphene, you can shrink them right down.
Mm.
You can put them in, this is the basis for wearable technology.
Yeah.
Where your shirt will actually become a computing device. It's pretty freaky stuff, but this is obviously the future now, where our micro devices are not just about running a computer, they're about doing specific things.
And it's quite exciting, really, to think about that. But you know, sort of the pros and cons that if sort of everything around you suddenly gets a chip, you know, in theory,
Yeah.
you know, what does that mean? Or do we need to go to that extent?
It's a good question, but everything could be connected.
That's true.
So, you know, probably on Earth, the answer is no.
Mm.
But if you were to go out and, say, build a base on Mars or anywhere else in the solar system, and you need to control the environment outside because it's completely inhospitable to a human, these sorts of devices would be able to tell you what's going on.
Yeah, yeah.
That they would help create an environment in which you could work safely, even if you are in a pressure suit. So I think, you know, like, you're absolutely right. Do we really need one of these devices implanted in everything in the house or everything in our world? Probably not.
Mm.
But potentially in other places, this is where they might work. This is what might change.
Oh, it's an exciting thing to think about at any rate.
Well, as long as they don't start closing doors and not letting you out, a bit like HAL or something like that, you know.
Oh, well, we'll have to wait and see then.
we will. But it's very exciting stuff. This is the future. I think everyone's always thought that, you know, we'd have devices with AI, but I think what you're going to find is that we'll be interacting directly with the devices.
Yeah.
And everything will be connected. How connected? That's the question. How connected do we need them to be?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Steve, we might wrap it up there. So thanks again for the chat.
Anytime, Ben. Looking forward to catching up with you next week and talking a little bit more about sci-tech culture.
Absolutely. All right, so don't forget our website, FiSTChat.com, at least for the next little while. That you can get all of our links there. We've got our ebook, the FiST Report, at fistreport.com, just our ebooks hosted on Amazon. We've got our weekly blogs, photography on Instagram and Flickr, and if you think anyone's interested in our weekly discussions on film science and technology, then feel free to send them to our website. We'd greatly appreciate that. All right, so that's it for this episode. So we'll catch you next time.